In the border battle tonight, the Texas Land Commissioner says the state has successfully blocked cartels from a small island on the southern border.
This is Fronton Island, an isolated outpost in the Rio Grande, notorious for its nickname, Cartel Island. In the early hours of October 9, 2023, this stronghold of El Mencho's CJNG faced an unprecedented assault. For the first time in history, Texas Rangers, backed by Governor Greg Abbott's mandate, embarked on a mission to reclaim this cartel-infested territory. This wasn't just a raid, it was a declaration of war against one of the most dangerous cartels in the world.
In case of we do get engaged and someone is shot or something, go ahead and work your tactics, get off the X, L-Fade Buddy 8, and we'll do the medical evac.
El Mencho's CJNG is infamous for its brutality, making Fronton Island a symbol of lawlessness and terror. The stakes were high, and failure could have meant disaster for the Texas Rangers and a significant blow to the fight against the cartel. But why did Texas take such a drastic step? What makes Fronton Island so crucial in the war against the cartels? And what are the broader implications for the U.S. Mexico border crisis? Join us as we uncover the secrets of Cartel Island and explore the implications for border security and the war on drugs.
But a close eye on those structures that are up there that have that height advantage on us. We have not seen people in there yet, but we know that that's what they're used for. So,
Fronton Island. Fronton Island, a 170-acre expanse nestled between two channels of the Rio Grande, has become infamously known as Cartel Island. This strategic piece of land, trapped in a legal limbo between the United States and Mexico, has turned into a sanctuary for some of North America's most dangerous criminal factions. For years, unresolved boundary disputes have created a legal gray area, largely ignored by both governments. This neglect has allowed the island to become a haven for illicit enterprises. The Gulf Cartel and Cartel del Noreste, CDN, were quick to exploit Fronton Island's unclaimed status. Its dense vegetation provided perfect camouflage, while its strategic location between two river channels allowed these cartels to control a crucial entry point for smuggling. Drugs, weapons, and human trafficking victims moved across the border with ease. The cartels transformed the island into a pivotal smuggling route, feeding the insatiable demand for contraband goods in the United States. Drugs and firearms flowed freely, their passage unimpeded by law enforcement, thanks to the island's nebulous jurisdictional status. The fierce rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and CDN often erupted into violence. Shootouts and brutal confrontations became grim realities on Fronton Island, further entrenching its reputation as a lawless and perilous territory.
The people of riverfront Fronton have lived in a state of cowering fear as drug traffickers like these men, recently caught on a stationary game camera on the island, cross back and forth into town moving drugs and guns with impunity.
For years, the U.S. and Mexican governments neglected to assert definitive ownership over Fronton Island. This power vacuum allowed criminal enterprises to flourish unchecked. Despite its notoriety, the island remains shrouded in mystery. Intelligence from Mexico hints at ongoing criminal activity, but definitive statements are hard to come by. Operation Lone Star.
Texas has a right, as a state, to stop criminals from coming into our state.
In March 2021, Texas Governor Greg Abbott launched Operation Lone Star, a sweeping initiative aimed at bolstering border security and addressing the challenges of illegal immigration. This operation marked a significant escalation in the state's efforts to safeguard its borders. Operation Lone Star was initiated with a clear objective: to enhance security measures along the Texas-Mexico border. By deploying additional resources, including the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas National Guard, the operation sought to disrupt human trafficking and drug smuggling operations. Collaboration with federal agencies such as Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement was a cornerstone of Operation Lone Star. These joint efforts aimed to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of border operations. The operation's intensified focus on combating human trafficking and drug smuggling brought tangible results. Increased law enforcement presence led to the disruption of several smuggling operations, contributing to lower crime rates and enhanced safety for border communities. However, the deployment of state resources for Operation Lone Star has not come without costs. The financial strain on Texas's budget is significant, diverting funds from other critical areas such as education and healthcare. Aggressive border security measures have raised humanitarian concerns. Critics argue that the operation's tactics may lead to the mistreatment of migrants and negative public perception. Heightened security could disrupt the flow of goods and labor, affecting local economies reliant on cross-border trade and migrant workers. Additionally, the operation may face legal challenges regarding state versus federal jurisdiction over immigration enforcement. Operation Lone Star also has the potential to strain U.S. Mexico relations. Diplomatic ties between the two countries could be affected by the perceived unilateral actions of Texas in addressing border issues. Operation Lone Star underscores the complex nature of border security. While it aims to address serious issues, its implementation must balance security objectives with economic, legal, and humanitarian considerations. Only through a comprehensive and sustainable approach can we ensure the safety and well-being of Texas residents and maintain strong cross-border relations. The raid. Fronton Island in the Rio Grande River was more than just an island. For years, it served as a critical hub for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, also known as CJNG, one of Mexico's most powerful and violent criminal organizations. Led by Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, the CJNG became infamous for its brutal violence and sophisticated smuggling network. Fronton Island, strategically located along the Texas-Mexico border, played a key role in their operations, facilitating the trafficking of drugs and humans into the United States. In a meticulously planned raid, law enforcement agencies launched a decisive strike against the CJNG's stronghold on Fronton Island, under the banner of Operation Lone Star. The operation aimed to cripple the cartel's smuggling network and send a strong message to criminal organizations along the border. The raid yielded substantial results. Law enforcement seized large quantities of methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana, dealing a significant blow to the cartel's supply chain. These seizures not only represented a financial loss, but also disrupted their ability to meet the demand for narcotics in the U.S. market. Additionally, the raid led to the seizure of numerous firearms and other contraband, crucial for the cartel's operations. By removing these tools, law enforcement significantly weakened the cartel's capabilities. One of the most impactful outcomes of the raid was the arrest of high-ranking members of the smuggling network. These arrests created a power vacuum within the CJNG, leading to internal strife and power struggles that further destabilized the organization. The intelligence gathered during the raid was invaluable, providing critical insights into the cartel's operations and enabling law enforcement to target other key nodes in the CJNG's network. The increased law enforcement presence and heightened surveillance along the border forced the cartel to seek alternative, often less secure routes for their smuggling activities. For the local community, the raid and subsequent security measures brought a period of relative calm and increased safety. Law enforcement maintained a heightened presence on Fronton Island, implementing regular patrols, advanced monitoring technology, and fortified checkpoints to prevent the re-establishment of smuggling operations. Following the initial raid, additional operations targeted remaining elements of the smuggling network. Information obtained during the raid helped disrupt other cartel operations across the region, further weakening the CJNG's influence. The raid on Fronton Island was a pivotal moment in the fight against the CJNG. It disrupted their operations, dealt a financial and logistical blow, and destabilized their organizational structure. Operation Lone Star's success showcased the resolve and capability of law enforcement in combating organized crime along the Texas-Mexico border, bringing hope and safety to communities affected by cartel violence. Effect on El Mencho's cartel. Fronton Island, located in the Rio Grande River, was a key hub for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, one of Mexico's most powerful criminal organizations. Led by El Mencho, the CJNG used the island strategically to smuggle drugs and humans into the United States. In a meticulously planned raid called Operation Lone Star, law enforcement agencies struck the CJNG's stronghold on Fronton Island. The operation aimed to dismantle the cartel's smuggling network and send a strong message to criminal organizations along the border. The raid yielded substantial results. Law enforcement seized large quantities of methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana, significantly disrupting the cartel's supply chain. They also confiscated numerous firearms and contraband. weakening the cartel's operational capabilities. The arrest of high-ranking members during the raid created a power vacuum within the CJNG, leading to internal strife. The intelligence gathered provided critical insights into the cartel's operations, enabling law enforcement to target other key nodes in the CJNG's network. Increased law enforcement presence and heightened surveillance along the border served as a powerful deterrent, forcing the cartel to seek less secure routes for their smuggling activities. For the local community, the raid brought a period of relative calm and increased safety. Law enforcement maintained a heightened presence on Fronton Island, preventing the re-establishment of smuggling operations. Subsequent operations further disrupted remaining elements of the smuggling network, weakening the CJNG's influence and capabilities. The raid on Fronton Island was pivotal in the fight against the CJNG. It disrupted their operations, dealt a financial and logistical blow, and destabilized their organizational structure. Operation Lone Star showcased the resolve and capability of law enforcement in combating organized crime along the Texas-Mexico border, bringing hope and safety to the communities affected by cartel violence. Operation Cleanup. Once a vital stronghold for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, became the focal point of a decisive operation by the Texas government. Clearing, fortifying, and securing this dense and treacherous island was the next crucial step in combating cartel activities. The operation began with a comprehensive assessment of the terrain. Experts utilized satellite imagery and drones to meticulously map the area, identifying natural clearings, water sources, and potential hazards. This foundational phase was critical, laying the groundwork for the arduous mission ahead.
Able to gain access and take control of this piece of land that has been used by transnational criminal organizations for years.
Clearing the island was the first major task. Teams equipped with chainsaws and bulldozers systematically cut through the dense vegetation. This labor-intensive process aimed to create clear pathways, enhancing visibility and reducing the cartel's ability to use the island for cover. Fortifying the island came next. Over 1.5 miles of razor wire was laid down, and defensive structures were erected. These ranged from simple wooden fences to complex installations like watchtowers and bunkers. Advanced technology, including motion sensors and surveillance cameras, was also deployed to ensure real-time monitoring. Despite concerns from environmentalists, the Texas government prioritized human security. The clearing operation minimized its ecological footprint while providing a strategic advantage. Regular patrols were established to maintain control and prevent cartels from reclaiming the island. The initial raid was a significant victory, but the cartels did not retreat easily. Surveillance footage captured their continued presence near the border, signaling that the fight was far from over. After its seizure, Texas DPS and military soldiers fortified Fronton Island with concertina wire, similar to high-volume migrant areas like Shelby Park. Texas Land Commissioner Don Buckingham confirmed, "There are no more weapons caches and people coming across the border." The U.S. Mexico border. The U.S. Mexico border has long been a focal point for complex issues surrounding immigration, drug trafficking, and organized crime. In recent years, the situation has escalated into a full-blown humanitarian crisis, impacting millions on both sides of the border. At the heart of this crisis are powerful Mexican drug cartels. In border states like Tamaulipas, Chihuahua, and Sinaloa, these criminal organizations have built multi-billion-dollar empires through trafficking drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl into the U.S. According to the CDC, fentanyl was the leading cause of drug poisonings and overdose deaths in America in 2021. Over 100,000 Americans died from drug overdoses that year, with a significant portion linked to synthetic opioids like fentanyl, smuggled across the southern border. The human toll of the cartel's operations extends far beyond drug users. Cartels employ brutal violence and intimidation to protect their territories and supply lines. Journalists, activists, politicians, and civilians who oppose them often face disappearance or murder in gruesome fashion. This lawlessness and violence drive many to flee northward. Thousands of families from Mexico and Central America endure dangerous journeys, often falling prey to human smugglers known as coyotes. These smugglers, often linked to the cartels, extort huge sums to transport migrants on perilous journeys to the U.S. border. At the U.S. border, an overwhelmed system struggles to handle millions of migrant encounters yearly. In fiscal year 2022, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reported over 2.3 million encounters, an all-time record. Overcrowded centers and shelters force many to wait in squalid conditions, while an enormous case backlog means asylum seekers often wait years for a hearing. Criminal organizations like the Gulf Cartel and Cartel del Noreste control territory right up to the border's edge. They use vulnerable migrants as pawns and attack U.S. personnel with near impunity from the Mexican side. Tragically, fiscal year 2022 saw a record number of migrant deaths, with 853 people perishing trying to cross into the U.S. The complexity of these issues defies easy solutions. The status quo is untenable, extracting a devastating human cost. Addressing this emergency requires major domestic and foreign policy shifts. Potential solutions include overhauling the legal immigration system to expand avenues for those fleeing persecution, surging resources for drug addiction treatment, cracking down on weapons trafficking into Mexico, stepping up anti-corruption campaigns, and targeting cartel finances to undermine their power. The crisis at the U.S. Mexico border requires comprehensive and sustained efforts. Only through collaboration, strategic policy changes, and unwavering commitment can we transform the border from a site of crisis to one of safety and opportunity for all. Conclusion. The raid on Fronton Island marks a watershed moment in the battle against one of the world's most dangerous criminal organizations. Texas Rangers, under Operation Lone Star, have not only reclaimed a key strategic territory, but also struck a significant blow against El Mencho's CJNG. This daring assault disrupted smuggling routes, seized massive quantities of drugs and weapons, and destabilized the cartel's power structure. But this is just the beginning. As law enforcement fortifies the island and cartels scramble to adapt, the broader implications for U.S. Mexico border security and the ongoing fight against organized crime are profound. The success of this operation highlights the resolve and capability of law enforcement in combating organized crime along the Texas-Mexico border, offering hope for increased safety and stability in the region. As the story unfolds, the impact of this raid will continue to reverberate, shaping the future of border security and the fight against the cartels. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on our latest content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for more in-depth coverage on the battle against organized crime.